Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's edition of ProjectManagementForum.net. My name is Bill Holmes, and tonight we're covering the Project Management Institute Ethics and Professional Conduct Standards. Tonight we're focusing on the 4 values, specifically the first one, which is responsibility. The other 3 are respect, fairness, and honesty. In an earlier video I shared with you that I felt like the core of all of these was honesty. And so as long as you're honest, generally speaking, you're going to be in compliance with these standards. So let's talk about tonight the aspirational standard for the value of responsibility. And first of all, let me say this. I disagree with PMI's assessment that some of these are actually aspirational in the sense that you should strive to achieve them. The interesting thing about the aspirational standards are if you don't meet those standards, you're not technically in violation of the Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. So when I go through these, you might find yourself going, well, why is that not mandatory? And so as a heads up to you, if you are using this to prep for the PMP exam prep, or using this as PMP exam prep, there's a chance you will miss a few questions if you follow my guidance. What I'm sharing with you is my opinion based on over 20 years in the field and many experiences in the field. So let's go through them. The first aspirational standard for the respect value is we make decisions and take actions based on the best interests of society, public safety, and the environment. That kind of is a feel-good standard to me, so I certainly agree that that's aspirational. But I think at its core, it's really aspirational because my version of what's best for society and the government might differ from your version of what's best for society and the government, or society and the environment. And so I feel like if 2 reasonable people can come to a different conclusion about what the right thing to do is, given the same fact pattern, then you can't box somebody in and call that a mandatory standard. So I do agree with this being aspirational. The second is we accept only those assignments that are consistent with our background, experience, skills, and qualifications. I also agree that that should be aspirational, and here's why. I personally am a project manager now because in my distant past, I was asked to take on a very large project that I, in fact, did not feel prepared for. Now, I followed the honesty standard, and I told my sponsor exactly why I felt I wasn't ready to lead this project. And in fact, my sponsor said, well, what do you need to lead this project? And I said, I need training, which is why I have a PMP and a PGMP and all these other certifications. And so the fact that I was honest and shared the fact that I wasn't ready for the assignment was, I think, the right thing to do, because the sponsor said they wanted me to run it anyway, but I told them the circumstances under which I would be successful, and so I do understand why this would be an aspirational standard. There are times when you may take something you're not ready for because it's a developmental assignment. The next one is we fulfill the commitments that we undertake. We do what we say we will do. Let me stop there for a minute. We do what we say we will do. In what world is that not a mandatory standard? If I don't do what I say I'm going to do, isn't that lying? Or if I'm incapable of doing what I thought I was going to do, then that is still an issue in a project. I have to report it promptly. But this is very binary. We do what we say we'll do. To not do what you say you do is lying. So in my opinion, PMI got this one wrong. This should in fact be a mandatory standard. Now the next one's a little long. I'm going to read it to you. When we make errors or omissions, we take ownership and make corrections promptly. When we discover errors or omissions caused by others, we communicate them to the appropriate body as soon as they're discovered. We accept accountability for any issues resulting from our errors and omissions and resulting consequences. So my question is, why is that not a mandatory standard? I mean, it's aspirational as a project manager to take ownership over something you screwed up. It's aspirational to report errors and omissions. It's aspirational to look at your project and find problems and then report them. To me, that's the core of project management. And I feel that that should clearly be a mandatory standard. I really have no idea why this is an aspirational standard. The next one is we protect proprietary or confidential information that has been entrusted to us. So since it's possible to be criminally negligent for not protecting proprietary information that's trusted to you, why is this an aspirational standard? I really don't understand that either. Unless the organization you're working for is doing something illegal, in which case the law would trump the ethical standard anyway in this particular instance, I feel like if you are entrusted with knowledge and you're told not to share it, you should not share it. PMI, this should clearly be a mandatory standard. Finally, we uphold this code and hold each other accountable to it. Now, this one I have mixed emotions about because I have seen instances where people have gotten a little bit aggressive about reporting perceived code violations. I've seen instances where the person who actually did the reporting was themselves in violation of a contract that they had signed with somebody. And so I think the upholding the code part, I really don't understand why that isn't mandatory, because what's the point of having a code if it's not mandatory to follow it? Secondly, holding each other people accountable to it, I do agree that that could be aspirational because sometimes things get complicated. All right, in the next session, we're going to talk a little bit about the mandatory standards for responsibility. Hope you enjoyed the session. Please make comments. If you have any questions, I'll try to get back to you on it, and have a great day.